Ephesians chapter 2, verses 14 to 18 say this: "For he himself, Jesus, is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, that is the law of commandments contained in ordinances, so as to create in himself one new man from the two, thus making peace. And that he might reconcile them both to God in one body through the cross, thereby putting to death the enmity. And he came and preached peace to you who were afar off and to those who were near. For through him we both have access by one Spirit to the Father." You know, one of the most beautiful things about Jesus is his cross. I remember hearing some time ago a story about a Japanese soldier in World War II. Now, this soldier and his company were stationed on an island just outside of the Philippines, and they were in the thick of the jungle. And there they dug their heels in and fortified themselves against enemy troops. Well, over the course of time, they continued to defend their section that they were commanded to defend. And it wasn't long until this Japanese soldier in particular was the lone survivor from his company. His fellow soldiers were sniped off by other forces. And as a result, he was left by himself. Now, over the course of time, and unbeknownst to him, World War II had actually come to a close, thankfully. However, because he was so deep in the bush of this jungle, news didn't reach him. In fact, he stayed in that state of warfare for over 30 years. He stayed in that jungle, constantly on the lookout, constantly ready for battle, constantly looking out for the enemy, constantly in a state of war. However, the world was at peace. Now, it wasn't long before his home country wanted to get this message of peace out to him, and so they tried a variety of different methods. At first, they tried to take newspaper clippings and drop them, parachute them into the bush. And he just thought this was propaganda, that the enemy was just trying to lure him out somehow. And then, after he didn't believe that and he stayed his ground, they eventually took his brother and sent his brother into the bush in order to convince him that the war was over. Now, even though his own brother went in, he didn't believe him. He thought the enemy had gotten to his brother and was just trying to get him out as well. Finally, they resorted to his commanding officer. They found him 30 years later and said, "We need you to go in and tell him that the war is over." And this commanding officer went in and was eventually able to convince him that the war was indeed over, and proclaimed to him peace. The cross of Jesus Christ is the great declaration for all humanity that we can now have peace with God. That we can have peace with God. That our sins, mistakes, and failures can all be forgiven because of the cross of Jesus Christ. And we can know for certain that we have peace with God now, because of what Christ did then. Peace, my friend. There is peace for you between you and God. It's a peace that surpasses all understanding. And it's a peace that Jesus himself says is not of this world, but is a peace that Jesus himself lovingly offers you. Peace to you.